I'm sitting across from a woman, and what I see is my very own reflection staring back at me. I remember sitting across from the same reflection about a year ago, and what I saw was a woman whose fears and doubts would not let her go. I was living with a lot of grief. I was depressed all the time, and every night before I went to sleep, for hours I would cry. It felt like I was mourning a death, but no one I loved had passed. When I realized it was my own life I was in mourning for, I knew I had to change things fast. I couldn't go on living this way, because I wasn't living at all. And if I hadn't changed things when I did, I never would have recovered from my fall. I fell hard when I fell in love. It hurt when I hit the ground. When he decided not to catch me, he just left me lying there face down. I had the strength to get back up, but lacked the courage to go far. I guess that's just what happens when we forget who we are. I realized I would have to face my regrets. I would have to confront them all head on. If I ever wanted to push through the pain, if I was ever going to move on. So, I went into the attic to see if I could find the boxes of all the vivid dreams and plans I had left behind. I expected to find more boxes, but when I got up there, I only counted 3. Empty, but with a message written on each one. Remember who you were, know who you are, and figure out who you will be. Those messages etched into my mind. So simple, meant to open my eyes and make me think. Think about my life from every angle, from the moments that were good to the ones that stink. Because these are the moments that define who I am. They might make me laugh, they might make me cry. How I handle them is how I'll be remembered, long after the day I die. I woke the next morning. I was having breakfast with my family, not yet knowing I would find the revelations to those messages that still echo through my mind. I realized, when I looked over at my mother as she sat across from me, that she was the true reflection of who I will someday be. If I went over and spoke to her, what would she say? Would she tell me what her life was like before her hair turned gray? Would she tell me about all the vivid dreams and plans she had when she was young, and how most of them were placed in boxes, then put into the attic when her adult life had finally begun? Would she talk about her accomplishments? Would she speak of her regrets? Would she mention why she never returned to her boxes? Would she say why she lets them sit? Will she clean out her attic one day, and when she does, will she realize that her life did not truly start? And it won't until she ignores her fears and doubts and listens to her heart. Will she find the courage one day to at least try those things she wanted to do? And when she does, will those dreams become more vivid than they ever were when they were new? One day, will we sit and reminisce on her life after her hair turned gray? Will she have fewer regrets to mention by the time she has reached her dying day? And on that day, as I sit beside her, will she look over at me and see the true reflection of who she once was that will live on inside of me? My thoughts were distracted for only a moment by the sound of my daughter playing in the room across from me. And what I saw when I looked at her was the true reflection of who I once was, smiling back at me. If she came over and spoke to me, what would she say? Would her words remind me of what it was like to laugh and play all day? Would she tell me about all the vivid dreams and plans she has for when she grows? Will she have the courage to follow her heart? I guess in time we'll know. Will she learn enough from her grandmother and I? Or will she make the same mistakes? Will she have the strength to get back up on her feet and move on if her heart ever truly breaks? Will she always refuse to let her fears and doubts control her life? And one day when she does something wrong, will she go back and make it right? Will she keep her plans and dreams out of the attic? Will she at least try to make them come true? Will she know that trying is the way to live without regret? Will she realize that trying her best is all any of us can do? One day, when she sits across from me, will she look over at me and see the true reflection of who I am and who she will someday be? A glimpse into my future, a glimpse into my past, a realization of who I am, opening my mind enough to make it last. Whenever I look into the mirror now, for a moment I always see the reflections of my mother and daughter looking back at me, reminding me of my future, reminding me of my past, and reminding me that if we all learn to practice what we preach, we will learn to live at last.